Mike McCool here in the Royal Examiner Studios, and with me this morning is Bryon Johnson.
Yes, sir.
I kept calling him Bryon, and he corrected me. It's Bryon, and I can see that. It's spelled that way, but for some reason, my brain tells me it's Bryon. But you answer to Bryon, don't you?
Yeah, I answer to anything.
Bryon has written this book right here. I'm going to hold it up. Mark's going to zoom in on it. It's called From Dope Fiend to Son of a King. And Bryon, boy, I am having a hard time with that name.
Yeah.
Mr. Johnson here is
that's fine. That's fine.
Is going to tell us about his book, and starting from beginning to end, I guess. So how did you get, this book was in you, so what made you write this book?
I just wanted to share my life, and my right now we have an epidemic in heroin and opiate crisis, and it's kind of reaching over. So I wanted to just write my story because I have some success of being sober for 8 years, and in my community in North Virginia, this very thing was going on way in the 89,
sure,
things like that. And so I really wanted to just pour out my heart and show some of my trauma that turned to triumph, and my road to recovery, and redemption.
Well, it sounds like it's worked for you.
It has been.
And it sounds like the King is what made it work.
The King is what made it work for me. A personal encounter at home, and not in a church or anything, and just really crying out, hurt, despaired, and broken, and still feeling abandoned, and ashamed to even pray, but just saying, "Help me, I need help," and that literally changed my life.
Well, that's great. It's what the gospel does.
Yeah,
the gospel will do that.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes, sir.
So tell us a little bit about your background. I asked you before we started if you were a dope fiend, and you said definitely. So.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And your daddy and your mama and
well, my dad, he started in Vietnam, and so he was drafted. He started doing heroin in Vietnam, and so and from that point, he's still struggling even as we speak now. And my mom, she dated a lot of people. I think it was kind of like some cough syrup or something in the early days, and then it kind of turned to heroin, and all the guys she dated, even so much that one of her boyfriends shot me up, and eventually I found out I had hep C. Yeah.
Well, that happens. It happens in so much in our communities. It's really a problem. We call it a war on drugs, but it really is a war.
Definitely is a war. It's definitely is a war. It's taking a lot of people out. I mean, we got some people that's dying because of it, that's not even using it. Families are breaking up and being just the worry, the stress of it, burying kids at 20 years old, 18 and 16, and the weight of that is impacting us greatly in our community.
Well, I noticed you work as a recovery expert or a recovery specialist.
Yeah.
And work in Northwestern. So tell us a little bit about that program.
Yeah, over there. I'm a trainer also for the Department of Behavioral Health and Developmental Service of the curriculum of peer support, and so that's to advocate and support, to link people to services, to focus on what's strong and not what's wrong. So literally what we do, we identify what's good in a person, and we try to work from that standpoint to access recovery or ignite some hope or spark hope.
Yeah, when you lose hope, you lose everything.
Yeah.
You get into a state of depression, and it seems like that it's really hard to pull that out. And don't you think sometimes people feel like they're the only ones?
Always. That's what happens. The drug it isolates you. It tell you nobody understand, and you by yourself, nobody cares, and that can potentially kill you.
Is that how the peer? Is that really the strong suit of this peer? It's everyone together, realizing they're not alone in the world, and other people have the same problem. And
that's right. We connect on similar experiences, so that's we connect that.
Because I always look at it. I said, well, if that guy can do it, I can do it.
That's right.
And
that's right.
Is that the strengths that you do?
That's the strength, and then we share what worked for us. We share what worked for us. We help them advocate for themselves.
Help them out and show them the resources. There's people out there that will help you.
Yeah.
And sometimes we just don't know where they're at.
Yeah, definitely.
So when we reach out, if you have this a problem with any kind of addiction of some sorts, there's really help out there for you, and you're not alone. And it's, yes, you're there, but let's get you out.
You can come out. You can come out and it's evidence. And I know in the news we see a lot of people that's passing away, but at the same time, a lot of people getting sober. A lot of people getting sober, a lot of people changing and coming to recovery and connecting to great supports. About 2 months ago, my uncle passed away in Greenville Correctional Center, overdose while in prison.
Wow.
And what's great about me being on this pass, just yesterday, they contacted me, not knowing that my uncle passed there, to speak to their returning citizens. And so that's such a blessing.
Yeah, and you use that word returning. You know, people are going in and out the door.
Yeah.
And we at our church we go out to the RSW jail twice a month, and we have a behavioral class that we teach. And it's amazing that almost every single one of the people that are in our class, it's called sense of self.
Okay.
So it's about awareness and things. That's what we were talking about. But almost all of them have some sort of either anger, and then that always revolves around drugs or alcohol.
Yeah.
It's all boils back to these behaviors that people get into trouble with, or can't get along with someone, or an act of anger all comes from some sort of drugs or alcohol problem.
Yeah, often I speak about emotional intelligence. I don't know if you ever heard of that term, emotional intelligence. And it's talking about, they have this term talking about fight, flight, or freeze.
Right.
It's the amygdala effect. And so we try to teach people how to think even in those moments. Take a breath, meditate, whatever you have to do, and make a choice not based off of your emotions.
Right. We've all heard that, count to 10 before you do anything.
Yeah.
That really boils down, that is... Really, it means stop and think about, let's have a response and not a reaction.
Yeah.
It's true. We all do it, and sometimes we do it and it's okay. Well, there's no consequences of it.
Right.
Other times, just that split-second action that we do or a reaction that we have will affect our lives forever.
Yes.
And the families and the loved ones that we have. So tell us a little more about your book, because it's a short book. I mean, look here,
75 pages.
75 pages.
Yeah.
And it looks like it's a quick
Easy
read.
Easy read.
But it is about your history. What from.
Yeah, what I wanted to do is share my secrets. A lot of times people keep secrets that keep them sick. And so in my household, it's like what happens in this house, stay in this house.
Right.
And so I'm telling what happened in the house. My dad read the book, and it's a lot about him. Like I told you, I was robbed at gunpoint by my dad. I used heroin with dad. I robbed with my dad. I was with my dad. First time we got high, he OD'd. I didn't know how to bring him back. And so I'm just sharing secrets that... that I held in for so long, that kept me sick, that kept me isolated,
right.
that kept me disconnected to people because I didn't want them to judge me or
this is my little comfort. Almost, this is my comfort zone where I'm at, because I know what's going to happen.
Yeah, and that's crazy how you can get comfortable in trauma.
Yeah,
and you can get comfortable with that, and then chaos, and that can be your world.
That's your norm.
That's your norm.
Well, that's people that get back in jail again. We had a gentleman that came in. We thought, man, he's really kicked this problem.
Yeah.
2 weeks later, he's back in class, and I said, well, I thought you got out. Yeah, I was out for 2 weeks, but someone made me mad. I said, well, no one makes you mad.
Right. That's right. You
got to learn that.
You're in control of your own emotions and feelings.
Control your own self. But it's amazing that he was out 2 weeks and back into class again. So.
I remember those days. The last time I was in prison, the first time I went to prison, I was sentenced to 7.5 years.
And you thought that's forever?
I thought it was forever. And the old gentleman told me, I guess he can tell about what I was doing. He said, you'll be back a couple of times. And I did. But the last time I was there, I knew something was different because I felt comfortable. Like, it was easy.
Yeah.
I was walking around with my chest poked out, and I did whatever I wanted, and I was like, something is wrong. That's when I knew something was wrong. It was getting too easy.
Yeah.
And it was too comfortable.
Well, it goes back to that comfort zone, and we all do it. We all have some sort of addiction that we have in life.
Yeah.
It's just a matter. Some are socially accepted, and some aren't.
That's great. That's great.
And so we have to get ourselves out of that addiction of whatever kind it is.
That's right.
And sometimes, and I think we have this term going around now as being an enabler. We help people.
Yeah.
We help people, don't we, to stay in their addiction. We don't look at it as an addiction or that we're helping them. We call that we love them. But sometimes, it's we can overlove them. I think sometimes. What do you think?
Man, I think you hit it on. I think that's great. I think that's great, and I think a lot of people stay where they at because of their family. What they call love enables them and keeps them sick. Not only that, what I found also was when a person changed, it changed the dynamic of the family. So even like when I changed my wife, even though it was for good, I stopped cheating, I stopped using. It forced her to look at herself, and then they depended on me being sick because it gave them a sense of being worth, right? And so people that's around you, it challenged them when you change too, because it caused them to look at themselves, and they get complacent on you being sick.
Yeah, that's their job.
That's their job. That's their job. And so once you get well, you don't need no more. You're not calling no more. And so they like,
what's my worth?
Yeah, what I'm gonna do?
So because almost they become addicted to you.
That's right. That's good.
But I when you talk about the discipline and things, I say when you discipline the ones you love, God disciplines us. Good. And because He loves us.
Yeah.
And I think that's the same way you discipline your children.
That's good.
I use the example that, if your child breaks his arm and I don't want to go to the hospital. You're going to do what's good for the child. You're going to take him to the hospital.
You take him to the hospital.
And so I think that's the same way, we have to do, and that addiction is a sickness. And
yeah.
I know there's a lot of people that don't really feel that way. They feel like, well, you did that to yourself and you deserve to be down like that. But everyone's brain works a little different.
Right.
I know I have a brother that he drinks 2 beers and he's a different person.
Yeah.
And he didn't believe it until we
recorded or something.
Yeah. But then my father could drink a case and you'd never know. He could he could walk a straight line, pass any DUI test or what. Yeah. But it just it treats
it's different.
It's different. It's different.
Our genetic makeup, who we are.
Yeah, you see someone else drink. Oh, of course, you notice on commercials, it's never the bad stuff. It's always, hey, have a good time, and all the young women are around you and smoking them cigarettes and drinking beer, whatever it is,
Yes, sir.
And they treat that as the high life,
Yeah, yeah.
And it's really,
and the people are suffering and dying. There's still a lot of people that's dying from alcohol.
Yes,
alcohol is still one of the leading causes of death. It's up there high, and it's socially accepted.
That's the thing. A thing that's smoking and alcohol, and now recreational drugs. Like we're saying, like we do it long enough, they'll make it legal.
Yeah, that's what it seems like.
Or it seems like, well, on the other side, a lot of these things were legal in the past. Back 100 years ago, it took somebody to abuse it and did something one time, and next thing you know, they try to, our government tries to protect us on some things. But it really gets down to, I think, we need to protect ourselves and look at things like that and make those right decisions. I mean, history repeats itself over and over and over again.
Yeah.
So I asked you earlier, do you have another book in you? And you're saying,
after the information you just shared with me, I think I may have another book.
There's something in there I'm sure you want to share. You said you're a preacher.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And so I'm a senior pastor of Grace and Mercy Ministries in Stevens City, Virginia. We have a congregation, probably about 40 or 50. For the and it's vast. We have black, white. It's very. It's not just like one race in there.
Sure.
And so it's a lot of people that's been broken, that been through domestic violence, that been through rape, molestation, addiction, old and young. And so it's very widespread. But I think I'm called to these people to set the captives free, to preach the gospel to them, to encourage them, and to show them Jesus. Yeah.
Show them hope.
Show them hope.
God's word will give them hope.
Yeah.
God loves you.
Yes. Yes, He had to love me because He came and got me from low. I mean, low. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's Jesus came to save us, save the sinners.
That's right.
That's what it is. That's great.
Right.
And that's one of the lowest. Yeah. When you get down, all you can do is look up.
Yeah. That's and so the best thing we mentioned that I was certified peer recovery specialist. We mentioned that I'm a preacher, I'm a pastor, but most of all, I'm a son of a king. And it took me to realize that in order for me to walk into it, that's the highest title for me, is that I belong. I belong, and somebody loved me, and they say they'll never leave me nor forsake me. He'll be with me even to the end of this earth, and so that's what keep me alive. That's what keep me moving. That's what keep me motivated. And even in this 8 years, I've been no what they call relapse, no setbacks or nothing. I've been total deliverance and healing in Jesus. if it had not been from him, I wouldn't even be able to stand here to sit with you to have this discussion.
Well, you know that you have to focus on the end of the race.
Yeah.
And you know, we're all in that race, and as you focus on the goal. You know, it's when Peter stepped out of the boat.
That's right.
And he took his eyes off Jesus. He sunk like a rock.
He sunk.
So I think that's the parable there is keep your eyes focused.
Keep my eyes focused.
Well, we really appreciate you stopping and talk to us. He will be at the Royal Oak Bookshop on South Royal Avenue on July the 6th.
Yeah, from 1 to 4.
1 to 4 at the Royal Oak Bookshop. If you've never been to the Royal Oak Bookshop, you will be pleasantly surprised. Stop in there, see Tammy. If you need a book on anything from A to Z, it is in the Royal Oak Bookshop. And it's a great little place to go. It's got a lot of nostalgia and just the ambiance of an old bookstore. It is the greatest thing, and I'm glad it's here in Front Royal. And again, July the 6th at the Royal Oak Bookshop, and we'll be looking for you there. Thanks again for stopping by. Really appreciate everything that you're doing, and I know you got a message in you.
Yes.
And we want to get it out.
We're going to get it out.
All right. Thanks again.
Thank you.